it is going to be an awesome stadium. I mean, there's nothing to it than that. It is going to be an awesome stadium. It's going to be fun. I mean, the only thing is, it's like going back to it, it was kind of like I hate seeing teams move. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I hate seeing teams move because I remember one of my first memories as a fan was um that I don't remember. Like I always keep saying this, but the Browns to me are a new franchise. Like they're one of the new franchises. And what's funny is because people look at me and they tell me like, dude, the Browns have been in Cleveland forever. Well, the thing was, when I started watching football, there was no Cleveland Browns. They moved to Baltimore.
Yeah,
So to me, the Browns are like a new franchise like that. Like so, like the Jaguars, the Panthers, the Texans, the Titans are new, but I don't remember the Oilers much. I don't remember them very much. I just know them as the Titans, because when I started
yeah,
watching, they just moved to Tennessee. So
right.
they just moved to Tennessee. The Browns were a new franchise, and then just as time went
Yeah,
on, the Jaguars were new, the Panthers were new, and then the Browns were new, and then the last team were the Texans. Like to me, the Texans are like the last new NFL team.
exactly. Yeah, when you said right now you hate seeing teams move, and obviously the one that hurts and is close to home is Raiders leaving Oakland. But one of the ones that I can remember that was just like, wow, what are they doing? Was when the Cleveland Browns left to Baltimore. Like, what is going on, dude? Like, they had Faithful the Dog Pound. Like, that was just, I mean, wow, that was crazy when they did that. Same thing with Houston, because you remember, obviously, I've been watching football a little bit longer than you, but I remember watching Warren Moon in the Oilers jersey and like, I think if I remember correct, I can't remember the running back's name,
Earl
from
Campbell.
Ohio State.
Was it Earl?
No,
No, Ohio State. Oh, Eddie George.
Eddie George. Yeah, I think Eddie George was a rookie when they started, when it was the last year in Houston,
Yeah,
and they went to Tennessee, I think. But yeah, no, man, yeah, watching them, watching all these teams move and stuff like that, it's like just like you saying here, it just sucks, man.
yeah. Because I was never a fan of like teams because I can understand like in our time, it's like, hey, like this is where it's been for like the longest. Why do you want to leave? But then there's two sides to every coin. You got one side where it's like the fans. You think about the fans, like, hey, don't leave us, don't leave us. We've been faithful to you guys. Like, fans like from like you said, the dog pound. The first time they left to Baltimore, it's like, how can you leave those guys? Like they
Exactly.
love you guys. Like how can you leave? And now we're experiencing it ourselves, where it's like, okay, like we love the Raiders, and we wanted them to stay in Oakland. Like we really did. Like for the people that don't know, it's like me and my brother, we've been season ticket holders for like a really long time now.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's like we always thought they were going to stay in Oakland. So when this whole rumor thing, as I mentioned earlier, about teams heading up to steaming up to get teams in LA, first there were talks about like maybe one team, then it was two teams, and then it was like, well, it's not going to be the Raiders because I don't think the NFL wants like a bad repeat of history of when they were there originally in Los Angeles. It's they don't want a repeat
The
of
photo
that.
day.
Yeah, the 80s and the mid 90s, they don't want a repeat of that. And I just thought for sure Oakland was going to find a way to like make it work. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Really quick though, bro. Really quick. Let me jump in. One of the things that we failed to mention too with the whole Cleveland Browns thing. I'm sorry to go back to that, but it's not only did they move, but they completely just zeroed the franchise. They became the Baltimore Ravens.
yeah,
So can you imagine that? At least the Raiders left, but they're still the Raiders. You know what I mean? It's like saying, oh, the Raiders left and now they're the Las Vegas Gamblers. It's like, whoa, I was,
yeah, that's one of those things where it's like I understand you're going to move to a new city and all that stuff, you know what I mean?
yeah,
But I mean, at least I always say if you're going to move, at least keep the name. You know what I mean? Keep the name. But I mean,
Right.
the Oilers did it too. Now they're the Titans, and then remember, it used to be the Baltimore Colts. Now it's the Indianapolis Colts. But at least they kept the name. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
That was the next thing I was going to bring up.
like
Baltimore becoming Indianapolis, where they, I guess the story is that the Mayflower truck showed up in the middle of the night. They packed them up and left.
I mean, and that was like dead at night. Like everybody's asleep, not knowing that their football team is like leaving, and then they're gone, and then just like that, they're gone.
Yep.
You know, and that, I mean, the Browns kind of did it like in a very crappy way. They announced the move middle of the season, and it's like, okay, so we're gonna move, but you need to play out the rest of the year with no distraction. Like, you know this better than I do, dude. Playing in a sport, it's hard enough to win without distractions. When you add a distraction like that, forget it, dude. Forget it, man. It's just no. It's just impossible to like not have that in the back of your mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. That's what you're thinking about and stuff like that. I've always said that, there's things that's going to get in the way, but it calls upon leadership in the team to not let, distractions get to you. But obviously the Browns being the Browns, you know, um, I can't remember the last time that they had a really good team. So I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, and we got a soft spot for the dog pound because it's like,
Yeah, we did.
because it's like, we're right there with you guys, man, because you've had terrible years, we've had terrible years, and we're just right there with you, man.
Oh, for sure, bro. Tell them what game we have on when the Raiders are not on. We always have the Browns.
We always, for some weird reason, it's like, dude, like we want to see the Browns. For some weird reason, we just like we feel like a sympathy for the Browns. Like we feel like their pain because it's like I understand those fans because it's like I'm sure they get the same questions we get asked too. Why in the hell do you want to like waste your hard-earned money on a team that hardly wins and a team that is so terrible? Why do you want to waste your hard-earned money on that? Because you love them. Because you love the team. That's why,
Exactly. Tell them what game we had circled this year as the away game that we wanted to do really bad.
What was that, bro?
Tell them the game that we had circled as an away game.
I am still gonna pack up, and we're still thinking, me and my lady, about going to the dog pound. Me and my brother, for years now, have said we want to go to the dog pound. We want to go to the dog pound.
We want to go see Cleveland. See all the stuff that they have up there, and plus, obviously, go party with the dog pound for sure.
But tell them why we're not going, bro. Go ahead.
Well, it's not really my fault. Of course, I'm going to blame it on the NFL. They put that game on the weekend of Halloween, and obviously little holidays like that. Obviously I'm a family man, and I got to be with my kids. So
I know.
Yeah, that one kind of sucked because I really, really wanted to go over there with you guys.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody out there from Cleveland, I know I got a couple buddies watching this right now that are Browns fans. Rain check, man. The next time we're gonna try everything in our power, and if we can beg the NFL to not put the Browns game during like a holiday season, maybe like in the early of the year, we're in. We're freaking in.
You know what? That being said, I have seen the Browns play though, but I've seen them in
Oakland. Yeah, I've seen
when Baker Mayfield was a rookie.
I saw them play the Browns and Raiders when Jacoby Ford took that punt return for a touchdown. That was the game when Jason Campbell, broke his or had a stinger, and then that was the end of our year.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah, that was the game. But I went to that one. But we always wanted to go to the dog pound, and we just want to go. We just want to just say hey, we've been at the dog pound and it was fun,
Yeah, well, you know the way that we do it. Every year we try to get
an away game,
home opener, and then we try to do one away game. So we always try to go see an East City.
So this year was going to be Cleveland. It's not looking like that, but however, we do have we do have an away game on our schedule, and we already got our tickets for, and hopefully,
That comes through, yeah.
yeah, and we do have the game against the Chargers at SoFi Stadium. It's going to be cool. I think it's going to be cool to see two new stadiums in 1 year. I think that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I can't wait.
But yeah, as we mentioned, the title of this is, the Tale of Two Cities, and we just got into the discussion of teams just leaving, and then some changing the name, some doing it terribly. How the Rams did it, I understand why they left. I understand why the Rams left St. Louis, but I think they could have worked something out. I just think the owner Snead just wanted a new he just wanted a new shiny building, and Brian Edward Jones Stadium was not it anymore, and that happens.
Yeah, now that we're talking about throwbacks between the Rams and Raiders, I can remember, God, I want to say about maybe 5, 6 seasons ago, they gave the Rams gave the Raiders one of the worst downs ever. I will never forget it. Remember, we were watching it in the house, and
I think it was in Eastville, no?
Oh my God, bro! I think that game was like 50. I know it was in the 50s.
I think they beat us 50.
It was a 50 burger, man.
Yeah, they beat us 52-3.
Maybe.
No, I think 52-3. We got on the board, but it was 52-3.
I'll never forget that I posted after that game. I said, "It's still Raiders on mine. Win, lose, or get embarrassed."
I mean, like,
yikes.
The thing is, I think my most memorable moment as a fan, like as far as like the losing, remember I threw that party because it was a whole year we haven't won a game.
I remember that. Yeah, it was for the KC Thursday night game, I think.
Yeah, I threw a party because we were like, we haven't won a game in a freaking year. Like it was 1 year. Like the last time we won, it was been 1 year. So we were like 0-10, 0-11. And I'm like, well, you know what? It's Thursday night. Let's make a party out of this.
I remember that.
And sure enough, they freaking win. They freaking win. And I'm like, I should have thrown a party earlier.
Yeah, I remember that. It was raining that night. If people would remember the first time that Charles Woodson threw up the O in the rain, it was that game.
Yeah, it was that game, and yep, I remember that. I threw a party because the Raiders haven't won in a freaking year. Why do we do it, guys? Because we love the team. All right? We love the team. That's why.
Oh, yeah, man. Oh, yeah. We were just talking about this the other day, me and you, just spitballing about how sometimes we forget that it's a business and this and that. But, I mean, as well as you know, bro, we do anything for the Raiders, man.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I mean, to this day, I'm, that whole, like, we've talked about this plenty of times before. I hated the last few seasons going to a Raider game in Oakland. Like, I had fun, but I hated the news line behind it is, it was always Oakland versus the Raiders. Like, whose side are you on? You know what I mean? And I hated that. That was like the last few years going to Oakland. I had fun because we went together, we saw the games together, but it was, you can always feel like the tension in the air because it was like, okay, well, whose side are you on? Are you on the Raiders side or are you on the city of Oakland side? And it just got to the point, dude, where it's just like, dude, I'm just on the Raiders side, like, look, I wish they would have stayed in Oakland. I really do. But, it wasn't going to happen. It just was not going to happen. Libby Schaff put out her deal. It wasn't good enough for the NFL. Vegas threw out their deal. It was good enough for them. So, of course, they're going to go with the deal in Vegas,
Exactly. I mean, look at everything Vegas has done already. I mean, top-notch stadium, their facility that they're building over there in Henderson and all that stuff. I mean, come on, man. I mean, they gave them a sweet deal. I mean, like they say, a deal they couldn't pass up. And I mean, it's just too bad. too bad. Oakland was home for so many years. I mean, they left the fans, they left all that tradition or whatever. But I mean, it's time for change, man. It's time for change, and we'll see what happens, man.
Yeah, because I remember, all that when all this was going down. I remember like from 2013, 2014. We were talking like, hey man, there's rumors about a team coming to LA, and it was like, nah, that's not gonna happen. Because if one team comes, another has to come because LA is so expensive, and it goes with any sport. I mean, and look, in hockey, you got two teams. You got the Kings, you got the Ducks. Why? Because it's expensive. In baseball, you got the Angels, you got the Dodgers. Why? Because it's expensive. In basketball, you got the Clippers and you got the Lakers. Why? Because it's expensive for sports teams to play in Los Angeles. It's expensive to have that name. So, all that rumors, it was like, I didn't want to believe it because I was like, no, because there's no way the NFL is going to vote for one, let alone two. And then lo and behold, like a couple years later, it's like, okay, the Rams are going to be the first to move. And then next year, if the Chargers don't move, they get the second try. And if they don't take that option, then the Raiders can move to LA. Well, obviously, I don't know what the whole thing with the San Diego thing was. The last I heard was San Diego did have something in place. All Dean Spanos had to do was put up a little bit, and he gets full rights to that stadium. But he didn't want to put up nothing, and that's how the move from San Diego to LA happened for them.
Which really hurt the Chargers because you know what? The Chargers had a decent following in San Diego, man. I mean, we went to a couple games up there, and I can honestly tell you that there was some loyal Charger fans up there, man. And when they came to LA, now it's just like it's a joke, man. I thought I read somewhere the other day where Melvin Gordon came out and said, "Well, what does it matter if we play without fans? We don't have fans anyways." you
Yeah.
know.
I mean,
And
that was just like that was like a slap to the face, man. Like,
well, he's not a Charger anymore, and I don't think that ended very well. So I'm sure he took a nice little cheap shot. You know.
for me, it's like, there's some things you don't have to say, like, dude, we see it ourselves, dude. Like, there was a couple games where, the Chargers were on TV, and I'm like looking around and I'm like, why does it look like it's freaking Lambeau Field? Why does it look like the Steelers are overtaking? There was at one point where I was like, why the hell do I feel like I'm watching a Raider game in Oakland, but the Raiders are the away team? Like, I don't know, like, I don't get it. Like, I never, like, I understand in Dean Spano's case, like, ooh, I'm gonna be the tenant. I don't have to pay as much, and I get a brand new stadium, and I don't have to do nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the end of it, it's kind of like, dude, whatever fans you had, oh, they're gone. Whatever fans you had in San Diego, I'm sure most, like, not all of them, but majority of them in San Diego said, all right, well, we still got the Padres, so see ya.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with, I think with the Rams and the Raiders leaving, I don't think it's going to hurt. Well, the Rams, it didn't hurt as much because it's like, oh, well, we still have the Cardinals. We still have the St. Louis Blues. We're going to be fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the Rams were never really from St. Louis anyways. They kind of just adopted them for a little bit.
And then, for the Raiders, it was like, of course, locals were like, yeah, you can leave. We still got the Warriors and we still got the A's. You fast forward, 3 years after this move has been announced, the Warriors are gone. The Athletics are almost out the door. I mean, this is probably going to hurt Oakland more than it is going to hurt St. Louis because at least St. Louis still has something. In 5 years, I don't know what Oakland's going to have. I don't know what team's going to be there.
We talked about this the other day, man. I just hope that Libby Shaft or whatever her name is, that she was right on what she said. Like, hey, you know what? We're going to save this money instead of throwing it, at the Raiders to keep them here and new stadium, this and that. We're going to improve the city of Oakland, the schools and all that stuff. I just hope that really does happen, man, because, not to say any bad things about, Oakland or anything like that, but Obviously it's not the best city, man. You know what I mean? And if they are going to invest into making it better, and it was at the, I guess you could say at the mercy of the Raiders leaving, then,
look,
again, I just hope it just goes to the right places like they said they were going to do.
I'm all for it. I'm all for it. And before I get to, to answer your, your comment that you made, I do want to give a shout out to my Uncle Pablo. He's actually watching right now. So, he's giving you crap, and, he's not giving me crap. He's giving my brother crap. But other than that, nothing new. It's a normal thing around the family. but, I hope Livy Shap does come through with her promises. Like, she's going to improve the school. She's going to improve the hospital. She's going to make it better. Now, the thing is, like, we've been there, and I'm sure I've taken people to games. I've actually, these last few seasons, I've taken my friends to Oakland. And, I've mentioned that some of these fans have never, they're Raider fans, but they've never been to Oakland. And, I've always told them, why didn't you ever go? Like, do you want to go? And they're like, well, what do you mean? It's like, well, dude, I got season tickets. You can roll with me, dude. I don't care. And, the reaction was, it's like, yeah, I'm a Raider fan, but I don't think I would like it, because I hear the stories that they're tough, they're mean. And, bro, you can be my witness. It is far from what the stories you hear from the outsiders, correct?
Oh, for sure, man, for sure. We were talking the other day. I forget who I was talking about, but we were talking about how bad it gets in Oakland and stuff like that. And I had said in the 10 years that I constantly went to games, I think I only seen one fight, and it wasn't even a fight. I just seen a guy walking with a black eye holding his eye and bleeding. And that was like, I think I was leaving the stadium or something like that. But to say I saw like a ton of violence and stuff, never. I can't remember ever seeing anything like that. Never.
In the 10 years that we've been season ticket holders, the 10 years, the only bad thing I remember, and it wasn't even bad, it was just, whatever, it's not my thing, is somebody smoking a joint during the game.
Yeah. What tripped me out, that security would just tell them, like, hey, man, you can't be doing that, instead of, like, kicking them out or, and somebody just blazing a fat one.
Like, that's the thing. It's like, that's the only bad thing I ever, like, obviously, the bad thing was that last home game in Oakland. That was probably the most violent I've ever seen it, because I understand there was a lot of emotional ties. There was this and that. But other than that, other than the 10 years me and you have been going to games, dude, the worst thing I ever saw, somebody smoking a blunt 2 rows to our right and just chilling and having a good time. That was it. Like, that was it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I agree, man. I don't know where people get these stories from. I will say that I think a lot of the stories come from people that go over there wearing the opposite team. You know what I mean? Because we've seen that a lot where, you're in the parking lot, you're barbecuing, you're drinking, and you see a guy walk by with a Broncos jersey. Oh, yeah, everybody's on top of that guy. Not beating him up, but, they're giving him crap, And, but in a good way, in a funny way. I've never seen anybody get violent with anybody there. Like, it's just the way it is. You come around Raider Nation wearing another team, you're going to hear about it for sure.
And that's the thing. It's like my old job where I used to work at, I have friends that are Raider fans, but they've never been to a game. Like, they say, I always want to go, but I see those people in the gear and I see the people in the costumes, and it's like, dude, they look like they can, like, stab you. And it's like, dude, honestly, we've talked to some of those guys.
Yeah.
Like, they're like the nicest, chillest people in the world, from Violator to Senior Raider to Gorilla Rilla. Like, these dudes are like the nicest people on earth. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure, dude. And I think where they get the stabbing from, if I remember correctly, somebody got stabbed in a game in the old LA games in the Coliseum.
And that's
what I remember. But in Oakland, I've never heard of anything like that. At least not that I can remember.
I mean, yeah, we've seen like a bad couple apples, but they were just doing stupid things like rushing the field and throwing shit. So of course they were gonna get kicked out. But other than that, I mean, fights. Other than the ones I see on video, but from a different section, I never remember seeing a fight. I don't remember.
Yeah, right.
I've actually seen more fights at a Charger game in San Diego than I have in Oakland. Now,
yeah, for sure.
Now tell me that ain't some fucked up shit, right?
yeah, and we're the ones that get the bad rap.
It's like I never understood the bad rap. It's like, Carla told me at one point, like, the first time I took her was to the Steeler games a couple seasons ago. It was the one where, the kicker slipped and all that stuff, right?
Right.
They ended up winning. And, she started telling all her friends who were Raider fans that never went to. It's like, hey, there's only one more year. You got to experience a game in Oakland before they leave. It is different. It was different. If you've never experienced that, and me and you have said this, for the people that are Raider fans and never went to Oakland, never experienced a game there, man, we feel sorry for you guys.
You missed it.
It was like, I understood the town wasn't great. The parking lot wasn't the cleanest. The stadium was a dump, but it was our dump. You know what I mean? It was our home,
For sure.
Like, and we joke about this. We joke about this. Like, you're not a real Raider fan unless you took a piss in that brothel in the men's restroom. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. You didn't even have your own stall.
It was a brothel. And for the people that don't know what a brothel is, it is a tub. It is a tub. And there is no walls. It is you and the guy next to you taking a piss. Unreleasing your beer at halftime and getting ready for more beer for the kickoff.
Right.
That's
right.
what. Yeah. And I always say, like, you never experienced a Raider game unless you smelled marijuana during the game.
For sure. I can also say, going back to like, people saying, "Oh, it's so violent" and stuff like that. I can remember probably my first game. Thinking about that kind of too, like, oh man, probably going to be fights and all kinds of stuff. I remember I went with my compadre James. He took me to my first Raider game in Oakland. We went to go see. It was the Jamarcus Russell.
Hold on, bro. James, you mentioned earlier. I hope my compadre remembers the first time I took Julian to a Raider game. Here's the story, man. I hope you're watching, man.
All right. So, he took me to my first game. I remember when I first started dating Yvette. I showed up to one of her parties wearing a Raider jersey, and he picked me out of the crowd really quick and was like, "Hey man, you like the Raiders, huh?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I grew up Raiders fan, this and that." And my compadre took me to my first game, and just kind of going back to it on the violence and stuff. I remember going to the parking lot and seeing families, little kids, everybody playing ball, tossing the football around. All the barbecues and stuff. Well, here's a good one. One of the reasons I got into Weber's, I like to barbecue a lot, and
of course.
And Weber's is my favorite. Was because of going to Oakland. I remember seeing a bunch of people having their Weber's nice and clean, and everybody cooking out there, and that's how I got into it. But again, the violent stuff, nothing. I just felt the only time was that time that I think I was leaving the stadium, or if it was halftime or something, and I was walking around the stadium and I seen a guy holding his eye and he was bleeding. I'm sure he probably just had got into a squabble with somebody or something like that. I didn't see it. All I just saw him was holding his eye and bleeding a little bit. But besides that, in the 10 years that I've gone, that was it.
The only violent thing I ever saw was it was a game against Denver. It was a Sunday nighter. And we beat Denver, and this Denver fan was like the ballsiest dude because the whole game talking smack, talking his crap, and the game's over. Everybody's dumping peanuts and popcorn at him, and then they actually had to get escorted out of the stadium.
Right. And I could tell you one thing that I'm not going to say he deserved it, but when I went to Denver and I was talking smack, and we got be pretty bad. I didn't have to get escorted out, but I will tell you, me and Yvette were hugging pretty tight walking out of their stadium. So I will, yeah, I'll take that one.
So, for the people that, really don't understand about all of this is that, again, we're excited for Vegas. For some, it's going to take a little bit longer than others. For example, me, I'm ready for the move. For some, it's going to be like, I can't believe it's really happening. Like reality's about to set in here in like 90 days because preseason is in like 2 months. And then it's showtime, and
right.
like, we've made, I would say, close to almost family friends up there, going up there now.
From family for sure. Great guys up there. Great guys that we
all the way from from Raider Rob to Raider Los. By the way, if you don't know who Raider Los is, go check out an old Raider game for these last few seasons. There's a dude wearing a Tim Brown jersey, the 75th anniversary, and he has this, towel that says Raider Nation and has the shades, the Oakleys on and everything. That's Raider Los, okay? He is a very popular man in the black hole, okay?
For sure. He gets a lot of TV time, that's for sure.
I mean, I think, does he still have a contract with CBS to like have his face on there? Does he get paid by CBS? Because, man,
I'm not sure, man. All I know is every time we turn on a game, at first it was like, oh man, there's Los, and now it's just kind of like, oh, there's Los again.
Like,
more TV time.
Like, hey, look, Los is on again. I wonder how much CBS is paying him tonight.
yeah. But no, definitely, it's going to be hard for those guys. That's all they know is Oakland Raiders football, and I mean, those guys never miss a home game, and it's going to be a lot tougher from them. Me and you, at least we went through a move already. I mean, 5 years old, saw the Raiders pack up and leave to Oakland, or back to Oakland. Yeah, and now that they're going to Vegas, it's it's a little tough on me, but at the same time, I definitely want to see what Vegas is going to be all about. That's going to be fun, man. Party town. We're a party team. And then it's 3 hours away from us now. So instead of 6 hours, on the drive, catch a flight and be there in 30 minutes.
And that's the thing. It's kind of like, to me, it's just weird in a way because I think in our hearts, me and you, we both wanted them to stay in Oakland.
For sure.
Like, if they were going to move to LA or stay, I think in our hearts, we wanted them to stay in California. Like, that was our heart. But the business side I guess it was just too good to pass up. Vegas came out with a sweet deal, and here we are. Yeah,
and dude, in talking about that, I think one of the reasons for me, it's a little bit harder just because, we went there for 10 years, and man, the Bay Area is so nice, you know what I mean?
And a lot of
there to San Francisco, seeing all that stuff. I mean, it was nice all around, but I mean, you just can't pass up a deal that Vegas gave them, and it's here now, so. Well, you got to be ready now.
I mean, it's, that's the thing I always mention, to like family and friends that are in Vegas, it's like, that aren't football fans, but, they know it's going to happen, that more locals and more tourists are going to, come and all that stuff. And, they tell me like, hey, what should I expect when the NFL season starts? And it's like, dude, I don't think your city, your first year, it's going to go through hell, because it's not like when you get a brand new hockey team. Like, yeah, hockey's popular. The WNBA's there. You guys got a couple sports teams, and, you guys host fight night, but you guys know how to control fight night. You guys know how to maneuver, security, all that stuff on fight night. The NFL's different. The NFL's a different animal, because now you're getting people from Oakland, you're getting people from Central California, LA, and now don't only forget people from because that home opener is against the Saints. And those people from New Orleans, they love to party. So it's like, we're going to go from the real party city of New Orleans to the baby party city of Las Vegas. And now you're going to get two party teams and two party fans together. Like the NFL.
On an all-out battle royale or what?
I mean, that's the thing. I tell people, it's like, look, if you're not going to be comfortable, with everything going on, I would just recommend that day, go to work, go home,
Yeah.
because the city's going to really have to figure it out, because I mentioned this a couple times. I wish the draft never got canceled, but unfortunately, we can never plan for a pandemic. That stuff, it happens. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And I think had they had the draft in Vegas, I think
they would have got a taste.
They would have gotten a taste of like, okay, this is what it's like when an NFL event is here. Okay, what did we do right? What did we do wrong? Let's fix it, because now a football team is here, but now it's like, hey, you guys are going to have to learn on the fly, dude, because it's like this. The NFL really did Vegas dirty for the home opener. They put them on Monday night. So now you're on national television. Your city is on national television. You have two party teams that are going to play on Monday night. And you think they're just going to come on Sunday, go to the game on Monday, and leave Tuesday? Oh, no. They're going to get their bright ass early on Friday, party Friday, party Saturday, party Sunday, party Monday, have a couple beers on Tuesday morning, and then go back to their normal lives.
For sure. Yeah, the beer's going to be flowing like wine, man. That's for sure. That weekend, wow. That's gonna be a party, man, for sure.
I mean, the NFL did Vegas dirty, not because of the fact that, hey, they're giving you Monday night on week 2. They're giving you your own slot. That's awesome. You know what I mean? Right. But you're putting, again, two party teams together, and it's like, is Vegas ready for this? Is Vegas going to be ready for this? And there's other locals out there that, it's like, well, we didn't want the Raiders, they're just bad apples. And it's just like, hey, look, man, first of all, we're not all like that. Okay. Some of us actually do know the team and just want to go to the game. Now, is there bad apples in the fan base? Absolutely. I'm sure there is. I've never seen one, but I'm sure there is, Oh
man, every fan base got a bad apple.
But the thing is, the thing I tell people is, the people that are going to look for trouble, they're going to find it. So, how, people say, well, you can't base a whole group because of one bad person. Well, you can't base a whole fan base off of one bad dude or whatever it was, Yeah,
but think about this also, bro. Like the people that are bad apples and stuff like that. I mean, with the ticket prices the way that they are in Vegas, man, you could just consider them out, man. You know what I mean? That you can't get a $50 ticket and go to Vegas and go watch the Raiders play. You know what I mean?
Not anymore.
You gotta have a nice little bank account to go catch a Raider game in Vegas. So you consider that done. You're gonna have people over there spending $300-$400 for a ticket. The last thing they want to do is get drunk and get thrown out. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. So, that'd be stupid. You know what I mean? That'd be stupid.
Exactly. I mean, I'm not saying it's not going to happen. All I'm saying is, when you got a $50 ticket or $30 ticket because the Raiders are doing bad, well, of course, the people that are going to be getting $30 tickets, I mean, you know what I mean? They could go over there and be like, who cares? It was just $30. Let me go get drunk and go have some fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's going to be different. It's going to be a different atmosphere. And I can understand that aspect. But, it's not to say that maybe something will go down. I don't know. But I think what I'm trying to tell people is, especially the ones in Vegas, the locals. Because remember, I went to Vegas a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I told you this, right? I wore an Oakland Raider t-shirt. And I was taking pictures in front of the stadium. And they looked at me and they're like, are you one of the goons? And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I guess what happened is, there's people from Oakland that are coming, and I guess they're like fucking up some of the gates or something. They're doing something, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I guess because I was wearing an Oakland Raider t-shirt, it's like, are you one of the goons? And it's like, no. I'm just a fan, And I started explaining to them, like, look, I've had season tickets in Oakland. I've been a fan since I was a kid. I have season tickets now to Vegas, I'm just here to take a picture of the stadium because it's so quiet. It's so like it's a ghost town right now. And right now is the best time to get them because no one's out, the streets aren't busy, and the cops aren't going to stop you because they just know you're just taking pictures of the stadium, you know?
Right.
So
Yeah.
I can understand
Well,
I can understand the fear, like, hey, you know, when they see an Oakland Raider T-shirt, because it's like, oh, well, where is he really from? I understand that, but what I'm trying to say is like, dude, we're not all bad. You know, it's just like, you know, I'm just a fan. You know, like I'm just a
yeah.
normal Joe fan. You know, I have a normal job, 9 to 5, like anybody else. Clock in, clock out, take care of my bills, take care of my business, and then just enjoy the game when it's on. Like
Exactly.
that's the life I live,
Exactly.
man. But you
Yeah,
know,
they you know, the Raiders get a bad rap, dude. But like I said, going back to it, if people were to just have went to Oakland and really just enjoyed it, I'm not even talking about people from other teams. You know what I mean? That wanted to go see them. You know, that's definitely something they would have enjoyed. I mean, I wouldn't say, oh yeah, they would have got jumped and stuff like that, because I think that's where it really comes from. It's just people that like other teams going to Oakland. Obviously, they would give them crap and stuff like that. But
well, that's anywhere
I
you go.
don't.
Like you have to like
Exactly.
expect you like that's us going to like a Charger game and getting booed at. It's like, yeah, because we're in LA. Like of course we're gonna get booed at. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like duh,
Exactly.
we're gonna
But
get booed at. Like come on, like what'd you think was gonna happen? You know, that's like me going to Santa Clara in my freaking Raider gear, and people are like telling me to sit down and shut up. It's like, yeah, of course, because I'm wearing the wrong freaking colors. You know what I mean?
exactly. Yeah, man. No, but you know, going back to the whole Vegas thing, dude, it's going to be new for everybody. It's going to be a new experience, and you know, it's going to be fun, man. It's definitely going to be fun. The party town with a party team can't go wrong, man.
Oh no, you can't go wrong. Absolutely not. I think I'm just trying to like ease some of the locals out there that it's like, you know, they have this vision in their head of like what a Raider fan is, and it's like, you know, because even my boss now kind of makes fun of me because you know, when I first got introduced, you know, they said like, oh, well, you know, he's a Raiders fan, and it's like, oh, okay, you know, like, so I went in, and you know, I'm in there, and I'm like, hi, I'm so and so, and they're like, are you the Raider fan? I'm like, yep, I'm him. You know, and because they've even told me now,
Good, like we expected a cholo.
like they looked at me and they're like, you know, not to be mean, but I was expecting dude with like the khaki shorts, the Cortezes, tattoos all over his body and his face, you know, the bald head, and it's like, no, I'm just, you know, regular dude, 9 to 5, get in, get out, and have a burger once in a while, you know, the simple life, you know, the simple life, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I think that's what it is. I think everybody just has a bad vision of like what a Raider fan is. But you know me, like me being stationed, you know, in Kentucky, I've been to other stadiums, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I can honestly tell you, as far as like fan bases who are just downright like just disgusting, I can honestly say I'm glad I went to these stadiums because I will never go again.
Yeah.
One of them was Gillette. I will never step inside a Gillette stadium again.
Oh, Patriot Stadium.
I will never step in there again because those guys are so fucking arrogant, dude. Those guys are
The
so,
Patriots.
because it's like, you know, it was during that time when it's like, okay, now they're known as the Patriots, you know, and it's like, yeah, you know, 3 rings and 4, and it's like, okay, dude, but really, you know, before all this war, did anybody know where New England was on a map?
Right.
Like, calm down, okay? So Gillette's one of them. Surprisingly enough, I don't think I'm ever gonna go to a Jacksonville Jaguar game again.
Wow. Really?
It was brutal, dude. It was freaking brutal because you know, people think Jacksonville, Florida, they're thinking, oh, you know, city life. You know what I mean? It's like when people think of like you know, California, they're thinking, oh, palm trees and beaches and this and that, right?
No.
No, nothing like it. No. Jacksonville, Florida, what can I say? It is a great city, but man, people there, if you look at them the wrong way, believe me, they still believe in the, if I ask them, hey man, where can I get a beer around here? They'll look at me like, hey, back the way you came from, boy. You know? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm never stepping in that one again. And then lastly, the last stadium I will probably never go to. God, this is hard, but I don't think I would ever go back to um probably the MetLife Stadium, the one with the Jets and Giants.
Right.
Because I can't get there. Every time I go, it snows. Every time I
I
go, it
remember
snows. So
that.
it's like, man, screw this. Like, when you have the Jets and the Raiders on and we're the visiting team, can you have us in like September, October by the latest? So that way I can actually go? Because I've tried twice in my lifetime and I got snowed out twice in my lifetime. Like,
That's funny. That's funny that you mentioned that because Juvie, which is my brother-in-law now,
yeah.
his brother is a huge New York Giants fan, and supposedly he mapped it out that I guess Raiders and Giants are playing next year.
Yeah, we got
In
the
in
NFC East next year. We got the NFC East next year, and I think the what was it? The AFC East? No, we got the East this year, but I know we got the
right.
NFC East next year for sure. I'm
Well,
drawing a
he
blank.
was saying that the Raiders are going to travel to New York, and
Yeah,
him and his brother are going to go or whatever. So he wants to tag along. And I've always said that one of the main places I've always wanted to go to see a game is go to New York. I mean, come on, who doesn't want to go to New York? You know what I
now
mean?
I've been to New York, the city, and it is very beautiful. Now the stadium part, like the game part, what I actually wanted to go to, I couldn't because I got snowed out twice. Twice, man. Okay, so I will go, but you got to promise me it's not in November, December, because if it's in November, December, I'm not wasting my money. I'm not going to fall for that again. Okay? All right?
Third time's the charm, bro.
Nah, screw that. Okay? Look, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, I'm just a freaking idiot, man. So,
Yeah,
but no,
yeah,
other than that, I mean, look, it was great times for the Rams to be in St. Louis. They had great years. Then it just kind of fell apart after the greatest show on turf dismantled. And it's kind of funny because in a mirror effect, back on the West Coast, the Raiders had a good few years. Then everything got dismantled after the Super Bowl run.
right.
And it's kind of funny, like the Tale of Two Cities. Like I named this video "The Tale of Two Cities" between the Rams and the Raiders because if you look at it, the Rams recently have had success, the Raiders have not. But for a long
Right.
time, if you look at the Rams and the Raiders, it's kind of like a mirror effect of each other. The two teams that LA really loved were just so bad. They were just so bad, from the Rams being bad to the Raiders just dismantled after that Super Bowl loss. And then the greatest show on turf dismantled. Everybody left. It was over, and it's recently
Right.
that the Rams, yeah, they've had success. They just went to the Super Bowl a couple seasons ago. Last year wasn't a good year, but I mean, hopefully let's see if they bounce back. The Raiders had a strong draft class last year. So, it is what it is, and now it's, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, yeah, it sucks that like moving pieces suck. We said earlier in the show we don't like teams moving. I don't like teams moving. I didn't like when the Chargers left from San Diego to LA. I didn't like when the Rams left St. Louis to LA. I didn't like, watching, the Browns leave, Cleveland to go to Baltimore. And then it's like, oh, well, here are the new Browns. And it sucks. It really does suck because it's like, no team should ever move. It should never come down to it. But unfortunately, as fans, we're just so focused on the team that we don't see the business side. We just focus on the players, the coaches, the general managers, but we never focus on the business side of football, which is the ownership. We never talk about the owners, which is like is something now it is being brought up because the second Jerry wanted his new stadium, it just then became a domino effect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Jerry got his new stadium, and then after a while, it was just like, hey, cities aren't really like, because it was kind of like, because we were talking about, Los Angeles being a spot since like 2010 or something like that, because
No, yeah.
because for whatever reason we got like word that, hey, the lease of the Raiders in Oakland is up after like 3-4 years, and we're like, nah, it's not gonna happen, And then the
Yeah, let
same.
me mention something to you really quick. I forgot to mention this earlier. This was a good one. So remember when you were saying when the lease was starting to come up and they were starting to talk about, hey, you know what, the Raiders could probably move back to LA. Do you remember when they were talking about that they had the opportunity to maybe go to City of Industry? Remember that?
I remember the Carson project. That was between the Chargers and the Raiders, right?
No, that's the Carson. The one before that, like we're talking about 2010, 2011, 2012.
City of
They
Industry.
had
Oh,
given
yeah,
the
yeah,
option
yeah,
that
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
that they
Okay, I remember that.
right City
Okay,
of Industry was because they have so much land right there, and man, I was so for that just because of the reason that City of Industry was what, dude, 20, 30 minutes away from here.
I mean, well, I live in Upland, and it's only like 30 minutes. Honestly, it's only like 30 minutes away from where we live. You live in what, Fontana,
I'm in
right?
Fontana right now.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's like the same distance, 35, 45 minutes.
Exactly, man. But they're in Vegas now, man. So we shall see, brother. We
I mean,
definitely
it
shall
was
see.
it was rough, but I mean, I remember that. I remember the whole City of Industry thing, and then that died quick. Then
Yeah.
it was a couple years later where, rest in peace, Al Davis died. That was a weird time because growing up, me and you as Raider fans, we only knew Al as the original Raider. He,
Right.
he was the man.
The Maverick.
Everything the man did, everything the man said was final word to the Raiders organization.
Yes.
Whether we agreed with it or not, he was the final word. So
Yep.
we just got used to the fact that, okay, Al's never gonna die. Like, we never thought of Al dying. Like, this is how bad it, like, not how bad it was, but this is how crazy we thought. We thought Al was never gonna die because it looked like, dude, he knew how to cheat death all the freaking time. You know what I mean?
Right. I think I even heard a couple of stories that they were calling him the Crypt Keeper.
It's like, what the hell? Like, dude, is it like looks in rough shape, but there he is. There he is
Yeah.
in all his
Man.
glory.
Al Davis, the Maverick was in his time the best, man, the best. I mean, NFL commissioner, NFL owner, coach, Hall of Famer. Oh man,
And I
Al
think
Davis,
I
the
think this is a
Maverick.
good time to
Wow.
bring up that for people that really don't know who Al Davis was, with everything going on in the world right now, with all the protesters and everything, and I mentioned this a lot. Don't look at everybody by color, but by character.
Right.
That's kind of what Al Davis always did.
For
And I
sure.
think if people
He
really want
hired the
hope
first African American coach, correct?
in Art
Art
Shell,
Shell.
but he wasn't the first minority. Everybody keeps saying that he was the first minority, and he wasn't. The first
Yeah.
minority was Tom Flores, and we did that. Al
Right.
did that. Al was a dude that we need right now.
Yeah, for sure, right?
I think Al Davis is the guy we need right now. Not the football Al Davis. We need the human aspect of Al Davis, the one
Yes.
where he didn't care if you were green, orange, white, yellow, brown, black. He didn't care. He only has two questions. Do you love football? Do you want to be a Raider?
And how fast is your 40?
And okay, maybe that's a sub question. Okay, maybe that was a sub question, but that, I think in today's time, I think a lot of people have to look at, if people have time, read up on Al Davis, watch Al Davis films, because he really was a guy that we need for this time right now, where everything right now is just hate. He wasn't about that. He was never about that. He loved everybody. He loved everybody, and he was so loyal
Besides
to him.
Marcus Allen.
Well, that is a story we will never know. Only Marcus
Yeah.
knows what happens, but he is never going to spill it. Never going to spill it.
We definitely got to do another segment one day where it's just Al Davis stories or something.
Because and it's true because the people that knew Al, they all say the same thing. We loved Al. We loved Al with everything.
Right.
Al, everybody, for some whatever reason, the NFL like commissioner, Pete Rozelle might have hated Al, but everybody loved Al. That
He
was
took
the
care of
thing.
his people, dude. He really did. He took care of his people. Look at rest in peace, Willie Brown. I mean, dude, he was with Al Davis for what 40 years after his career was over.
I mean, think about it. He played with Willie Brown played with the Raiders. Al Davis told him, "What are you doing after this?" He goes, "Well, I'm probably just going to retire." He goes, "No, you're not. You're going to be my secondary coach as long as I live."
Yeah.
He loved his guys. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I think what people have to realize is he hired Tom Flores. He hired Archell, which was back in the day. It's shameful to say, like, to hire an African American for your head coach was kind of like not frowned upon, but it was never a thought of,
Right.
And Al said it best. I'm not hiring you because you're black. I'm hiring you because I know you love this team and you're the right man for this team and for this job right now.
Right. Exactly.
I think in today's world, we need to remember people like Al. We need to remember people of ourselves like Martin Luther King, Al Davis, Gandhi, because these guys were more than just perfect at their craft. They were real human people.
Right.
They cared about people.
Color. They didn't see color. It didn't matter to them. You know what I mean?
I mean, they didn't see color. They didn't see creed. They didn't see like anything. They just all Al wanted more than anything was just win. Just win. That's all it was. And that's the thing about it is in today's world, I think it sucks that he's gone because we need people like Al. We need him because he really is that first guy to kind of break the wall barrier between African American and the NFL because again he was the first guy in the AFL to draft a black quarterback in the first round.
Right.
And people kind of looked at that like, well, what are you doing? He's an African American. It's like, I don't care. I mean, I love him because of his athletic ability, not because of his color, And that's the thing. Yeah. It's like it sucks because the NFL today still it still has a problem. Like let's call a spade a spade. There's not enough head coaches that are African Americans. There's not enough general managers that are African Americans, like minority wise. I mean, Al even did as far as went putting a woman at the top of his position other than owner on an NFL team. You know what I mean? Like he had Amy Trask to be the president of the Raiders, which was like the highest honor other than owner to run the team.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So and to think
accomplishment right there.
So I mean, and it hasn't been done since. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like if people ever feel like it's hopeless that we all can't get along, we all can't see past other than skin. I recommend people really just looking at Gandhi tapes, Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa tapes, Al Davis tapes, because these guys were they were human first, foremost than anything. They were human first.
Exactly.
And in this time, this is what we kind of need. We need reminders like those guys I just mentioned, because you see the news, I see the news. The world right now with all this looting, all this rioting, it's not good. It's not good for the country. It's not good for the economy. And I know, it's bigger than a game. It's bigger than this and that. But, we really have to come together in this because it's just tiresome to see more and more innocent people die by unfair and unjustly the people that are supposed to protect us,
Yeah, for sure.
It's just,
and that's why everything's going on right now, man, because they want to get that just, to the point where that just never happens again, man. And it shouldn't, and it needs to stop. It really does. That what happened the other day was the hair that broke the camel's back, man. That's it.
And you know,
That's
like
why all these protests and everything, you know.
And you know, this was mentioned. It's like, why was this one the one that broke the camel's back? And from my point of view, and from what I'm reading, and from what I'm seeing, is this one is the one because you're forcing us to. How can I put it? You're not forcing us to stay home, but they kind of forced their hand in this. Like for everybody that doesn't understand, it's like, look, they tried the movement, you guys shut them down. They tried T-shirts, you guys said burn them. They tried kneeling, you called them, you know, sons of bitches, have them fired, you know, blackmail them, blackball them, whatever it is.
Right.
At some point, you know, this is, you know, kind of this was the last resort. There was nothing more. There was nothing more they could have done. They tried everything. Yeah. People didn't like it. Well, this is the final resolution, dude. And you know, it's like I mentioned yesterday. If you think this is bad, I know all the three other cops for the Minneapolis one, the one with George Floyd. Yeah. They're all in jail now, and they're all going to face trial. That's good, but we need more than that. We got to make sure, like, not to sound like a jerk, but we need to make sure that they're found guilty.
Yeah.
Because if they're not found guilty, people are going to think this is bad. In my opinion, if they're not found guilty, you haven't seen nothing. And no amount of firepower from the military, no amount of law enforcement is going to stop the power of people.
Oh, for sure.
Because if people are willing to die for a man that they never met, but because we feel their pain, it's hell on earth at that point if they are found, you know, not guilty in a court of law. And yeah. I would recommend to get the hell out of Dodge at that point. I will literally buy a ticket to Canada that day. I will fly out of there and I will come back until this whole thing goes to rest because I want no part of it. Like, look, do I think all cops are bad? No. Do I think every protester is a looter? No. It's just eventually you have to collide. And if people don't do the right thing, then it's just going to get bad. And that's why I recommend those 4 people I mentioned earlier, watch them, learn from them, because we need people like this. Like, I understand, you know, like, hey, I don't need to listen to it. I know I'm going to get it right now. I don't need to listen to anybody but Jesus. It's like, okay, I get all that. But some of you Bible thumpers, you guys are just as worse, man. You guys are just as bad. But that's another topic for another day. And, you know, I do want to leave on a good note because I don't want to leave out like this. So with everything talked about today, dude, my man, bro, if you could pick one moment, your favorite moment from going to Oakland, your favorite Raider moment, what would it be?
God, there's so many, man. You know what? I'm gonna leave it on my best note that what I can remember. When I heard, and it's not gonna be a memory from the game. When I first heard that it was a done deal that we're moving to Vegas, I planned a trip where I would take my whole family, me, Yvette, Omar, Juliet, and Angela, one more time to Oakland, and for us all to be together out there in the Bay Area. And I can remember that time we took my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law. They also tagged along, went to go see the Raiders against the Browns. And the day before, they wanted to go see San Francisco. And I'll never forget going to the Golden Gate Bridge. We were at the Golden Gate Bridge, me and all my kids and everybody. And I remember looking out. It was like picture perfect, dude. The sun was going down. And I just remember looking at that and being like, wow, this is the last time I'm going to be over here and really seeing this, you know. And that's one of my, I would say probably one of my best memories, man. That was awesome. I'll never forget that, being with my kids over there and going to the tailgate, watching the game. But yeah, I'll leave it at that one. That was my best memory.
Oh man, no, I think for me, my favorite, it was the last game Charles Woodson was going to play in Oakland.
Right, you were there for that, yeah.
It was the Thursday nighter. It was the Christmas Eve game against the Chargers, and it was cool to kind of see Woodson play one more time. It was the thing is, it's like, you know, we go to a lot of these games and you see these guys and it's like, man, they're really good. But then there's just a couple players that you see live, whether they play for the Raiders or whether they play for somebody else.
For sure.
You're just like, you know, I saw a legend play here.
Yeah. Yep.
And Woodson was one of those guys because nobody did it like Charles, dude. Nobody did it like him. From
I agree.
From Michigan to the end of his NFL career, nobody did it like Charles Woodson. Nobody.
Yep. Probably. I've been asked this before, and I've seen a lot of Raiders come and go, man. But if there's one guy that I can say that I've seen and watched on TV, and I had it all defensively, and even played a little bit of offense, I got to go with Charles Woodson. Just probably, for me, probably best Raider I've ever seen. There's a lot up there, man, but Charles Woodson he's a different animal, man. Just wow. At that age, still to move around like that and have the ability, the physical ability, the smart, tackling. I mean, dude, wow. What a beast, man.
He was like I mentioned, like we've seen others, like we've seen players like, you know, Richard Seymour. He was a great player for the NFL. He had a great NFL career. You know what I mean?
Namdi.
We saw Namdi. He had a good NFL career. There's other players that we can say, like, yeah, I remember them. They had great NFL careers. Like Steven Jackson from the Rams. He had a good NFL career. And still to this day, one of the baddest motherfucking commercials was with him and Troy Polamalu.
Yeah, I still see that every now and again.
That was one of the coolest commercials I've ever seen. You know,
the Last of the Mohicans theme song, correct?
Yeah, that was it. The Last of the Mohicans theme song, and you know, Steven Jackson.
It wasn't Troy Polamalu. Actually, it wasn't Sean Merriman.
Was it Sean Merriman? I could have sworn it was Troy.
I don't think it was Troy. You might want to watch it again after.
I have to. I want to see it,
but I remember it was Sean Merriman and then Steven Jackson.
You know, it's like, yeah, there's another one, Sean Merriman. He had a good NFL career. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you know what, dude? Honestly, those guys, everybody you just mentioned, the only person I think is even in the caliber that Charles Woodson was Troy Polamalu. I mean,
oh no, Troy was the man. Yeah,
all those guys. I mean, they're not going to be first ballot Hall.
Oh no. I mean, you know. But you know what I mean? It's like you see these good players, and then it's just there's a couple times you go to a game live and you're just like, because, I mean, dude, I saw Peyton Manning live. That, to me, that was like, whoa. You know what I mean?
Yeah, different animal, man.
Like, because, you know, you see quarterbacks and you see them doing their signals and everything.
Right.
Seeing Peyton Manning live was like, whoa. Like, dude, this guy is he's a different cloth. He's cut from a different cloth because how he signals and how he commands and how everything just looked so easy. It was cool to see. And you know, that's what I like to mention is like, you know, we go to these games and you know, we live in the now moment. But you know, it's always good to remind ourselves of the players from the past that had good careers, but we can never forget about the ones that we saw live, and you're just like, damn, that was crazy. I mean, Charles Woodson was one. I saw Ray Lewis live. That was different.
Yeah.
Watching Ray Lewis live is way different than watching him on TV because you're seeing him on the sideline when the camera's off. He is nonstop, dude. He was non-freaking stop.
Yeah.
I mean,
best linebacker to ever. In my case, I actually seen seeing him play, probably the best linebacker ever.
Oh yeah, that's not even a question, dude. That's not even a question. And like I said, man, it's good to remind ourselves of the players, like the Steven Jacksons, you know, all those guys, the Sean Merrimans, the Marcellus Wileys, they had a good run, the DeMarcus Wares,
Darrell Revis.
the I mean, people forget about Darrell Revis. Like there was at one point Darrell Revis was like ultimate shutdown. You know what I mean? He was really good. It's weird to think now. It's like, yeah, players move on, and that's the thing. It's like we kind of forget sometimes,
Yeah,
But
no, definitely, man. Well, you bringing back this Throwback Thursday, obviously you kicked it off with just Raider talk or whatever, the Tell Us Good Cities, which is cool, But yeah, maybe on Thursday you can bring up a certain year or something where, who's the best quarterback or best corner or which one would be good for a Throwback Thursday if I could recommend one.
oh boy,
How about all those games? Every year they always put Peyton Manning against Tom Brady. Those were awesome games, man.
oh, those were nail biters.
Yeah,
And
every single one, and they would always see each other in the AFC Championship game, and every year you'd circle that, like, oh man, Tom Brady and
they had
Manning
to.
going at it.
Because at that, like, see, that's the thing people don't remember. It's like, okay, Peyton was drafted in '98, Tom Brady was drafted in 2000. When they both met for the first time, it's like, okay, we already know what Peyton Manning is, and we think Tom Brady's going to be good. Well, Tom Brady became more than good. He became one of the best of all time,
Exactly. Yeah.
And when they met, it was cool because they met each other when they were both young. They were both in the prime of their careers, and they were excellent at their freaking craft.
Right.
That's when it was cool because it's like that was a quarterback rivalry. Like that one was good. Like that one was like every
No, that one wasn't good, dude. It wasn't good. It was the best.
Oh yeah, it was the best for our.
Nobody will ever come close to that, dude. There's no rivalry ever that has been played 10, 12, 14 years in a row. You know what I mean? Every year they would put that game on.
And it was always Sunday Night Football. It was always Sunday night.
Of course.
And everybody, and whether you were a Raider fan or whether you were a Cowboy fan, a Eagles fan, a Bears fan, you circled that game too because it's like you watched your game and you're like, okay, what are we going to have for dinner for the Tom Brady versus Peyton Manning game?
Of course.
Well, remember that one year in Chino, we saw the game and we actually bought donuts from the donut shop down the street from where we live?
I don't remember that, but I'm sure we've done that. It sounds familiar.
Oh, dude, we did that so many. I mean, you were already gone and plastered, but I had to go get the donuts, and it's like, okay, here are the donuts. All right, enjoy.
Yeah. I can remember a lot of the times where we'd just be like pretty smashed and just be like, hey, somebody bring donuts, somebody bring a dozen.
That was our thing. Like after the game, it's like, hey, Sunday Night Football's on, so come on, somebody get some donuts and some milk. Let's go. Like that was our
sober up.
That was our thing, man. And yeah, that rivalry, this
was a great segment though, man. This was pretty cool. You're definitely gonna, obviously I opened it up or whatever, but yeah, when you get other people on or whatever, just start, bringing up different topics like that. It's definitely gonna be fun, and I'll be tuning in, man.
Oh yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to do one about an Al Davis segment because we actually had a plan one point when we were kids, growing up, and we're like, okay, when we go to the game and if we see Al, you distract him, put your arm around him, I'll take a picture, we run like hell.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. That was one that definitely escaped me just because I always wanted to get a picture with them, but it didn't get to happen, man. Oh well.
But other than that, I mean, do we have any more questions? Are we good? We are good. Well, that's it, bro. This was your first segment on the show, man. How'd you think you did?
I think I did okay.
Yeah, you did
You
all
know, I'm just spitballing, just having fun, talking
right.
Raider ball. I'm good.
You did all right. Whatever. Anyway, but nah, thanks, man. I want to thank you for tuning in today. I want to thank everybody that watched on Facebook Live and YouTube Live, and hopefully everybody enjoyed it. Hopefully everybody had a good time. I actually had to make two parts to this video because for whatever reason, the first part kind of cut out on the YouTube page, and then I just went to the second part. So hopefully you guys are, not too upset, but it happens, and we just go through with it, and it happens. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank my big bro for being on today. Is there any last parting words you want to say, bro, before we say goodnight?
You know me, man. Raider Nation till the casket drops, baby. For sure.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. All right, bro. You have a good night, okay?
You too, brother. Thank you for having me on. You guys have a great one.
All right, you too, brother. That was my bro, Joan Garcia. Good man. Sort of a goofball, but loves to have fun. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today, and we will talk to you guys soon.